Hey everyone, Melissa here, and I am creating a layout with Sunkissed for you today. I'm also up on the blog, so you can head on over there and read about this layout, and I have the links to all the Cocoa Vanilla Studio places you can go below. So I'm using this paper called Good Vibrations, and a few weeks ago, or maybe last month or the month before, I used one of the papers in Daydream, and it was similar. It had kind of paint stripes across it, and I cut it apart and I created a rainbow with it. So I decided that I would do a similar thing again. I'd cut this paper apart and use it in a different kind of way, and then I'd paper piece it back together. So what I've done is cut it into, I think it was 2.5 inch, maybe it's 1.5. I'm really bad with inches. I'm sorry. It's not the system that I use here in New Zealand. But anyway, I've cut them into equal widths, and then I've cut the white parts off. And now what I've done is arrange them in the order that they were originally in on the paper, which is like a rainbow order. And now I'm wanting to place them around a circle. So you're seeing this process, it's quite organic. I could have cut out a circle and then put my strips around it, but I didn't want it to be overly perfect, and I kind of couldn't be bothered, let's be honest. So I'm just playing around with this until I get it right, so that I create a circle where all of those parts are touching together and you can see the circle. Then I decided that I didn't want to get too far with this and realised that I didn't have it positioned in the centre or have my circle centered. So I've just found the center of the page and put a tiny little gold dot. I couldn't find a pencil. I think one of my kids had taken it. And then I'm just playing around with these, pushing them in until they create that circle. So it's quite an organic process, and I could have cut this out, but I thought you might like to see exactly how I do it. Now at this point I was not sure how this was going to look, whether it was going to work. I'm not trying to make a sun, but that's kind of what I end up making. And I guess when you see my title and the theme, it'll go quite well. So there I've got it, I think, how I want it. And the next step is just to put a little bit of glue on the ends and then glue these down. So I'm just using Nuvo liquid adhesive. It's my favorite glue. I've tried a lot of glue, and this is the one that I love the most because it's thick and it dries quickly, but it's not overly thick, and it also dries clear, so if you're backing cut files it works really well. It doesn't dry instantly. There's a little bit of wiggle room, so if you I think when I get near the end of this, maybe I move them around a little bit. Yeah, you can see there I just kind of am moving them even though they're glued. So yeah, just positioning them. And then for the next row I'm not wanting to exactly match, I'm wanting to move them over. So here I'm just working out how I'm going to do it. So I decided to start with either the blue or the red and then work out which direction I was going to move it to. So I've gone one to the left, if that makes sense. And then I think there is one part where the colour lines up, but that doesn't matter. When you look at my final layout, when I add the splatters, you'll see that you look at it as a whole and you're not looking at one individual part. So going around, still at this point not sure how this is going to look. Always have so plums wise advice in my head that sometimes things look ugly before they look good, and that's especially true with mixed media. So at least because I'm working with collection and this is one piece of paper, I know that the colours and tones are going to work because Zoe has designed them that way. So it's just a case of trusting the process. Now, I get visions in my head for what I want to do with paper. Probably sounds crazy, but the paper talks to me, and then I design based on that. Sometimes, most of the time it works out. Sometimes it works out far better than I could ever imagine, and other times it doesn't quite work out how I wanted it, but I still make it work. So it's very rare for me to put a layout in the bin or chuck it out partway through. So now you can see all those strips are in place, and I'm just going through, I've bent or curled up the edges, and I'm going through with these little pop dots and just lifting my paper. So I don't put those dimensional adhesive, I don't put them right at the end, I put them slightly back so that, I don't know, it just provides a bit of lift. So I'm really sorry, I have been working on improving my videos so you can't see the tripod legs, but in doing that, I have not positioned this very well, and you can't quite see what I'm doing on the side there, but all I'm doing is getting distress oxides and matching colours, smushing them down, adding some water, and then making my splatters. So I won't tell you what all the colours are. If you want to know, just ask me in the comments and I can tell you. But I don't have that many distress oxides. I'm building my supply. I've started with kind of primary colours, and then I'm building from there, because with the primary colours I can mix to make other colours, obviously. So I'm drying off in between each layer of splatter just so it doesn't get muddy. And I also forgot to say that I machine stitched 3 times around the centre as well. So if I didn't add the splatters, I would not like this layout at all, but because I've added them, I think it helps tie my design together. It definitely creates movement, and I think without it, it's just very stark on that white background. So to make the orange, I've just mixed the yellow and it's not red, it is, what is it? Can't remember the colour, but it is a pinky red colour. So yeah, just keep adding and adding until I'm happy, and I just, I guess, visually assess where I need to add more splatters of certain colours. So drying it off, and I think, yeah, that's the final layer of colour. So I don't have a dark blue yet. Like I said, I'm building these up slowly. Oh, green. Yeah, mowed lawn is the last colour that I add. I'm just building up my stash of these slowly. I could just go and buy everything right now, but I don't think that's a wise decision. So yeah, I have got the latest 2, which are Kitsch Flamingo, and I've got Salvage Patina on its way. I just had to have those ones. So drying off, and I'm sorry the light's a bit funny. It's winter here, and yeah, it's daytime when I'm filming this. So now I'm wanting a mat for my photo. I didn't have a photo at the beginning. I've printed this off. I did print it larger, and then I thought it's going to dominate. I need a smaller one. So this is, and I've also turned it black and white, and this is me at Riverton with Ava in the background, and I've turned it black and white just for obvious reasons. There's a lot of colour going on in this layout. So I've just put it on some craft foam, and because I have put those little pop dots behind all my paper strips, I needed to add a second layer of foam just where it's going to sit in the middle of that circle. So I've slightly angled my photo just for interest. And now I'm getting into the fun part, which is embellishing. So I wanted to attempt to use some more of these die cuts, especially the icons. I haven't used that many of them. So just trying to work out what is going to look good. I thought that sun would look good, kind of mimicking the sun that I've created. Not that I intentionally made it that way, but it's turned out looking like that. And then the Summer Days title, I think, is perfect for this photo. Now this layout will go into the holiday album that I'm making for our Riverton trip, or little holiday that we had in January. And so probably the majority of the layouts that I've created lately for Cocoa Vanilla, and also for other teams or challenges, I've used Sunkissed, and I'm scrapping intentionally photos from that holiday so that I can create this whole album and have it done. And I think I've said that I will have a layout share of that when I am done. So I probably won't be done with that till the end of the year, because I don't scrap chronologically. I just scrap whatever I feel like. Yeah. So here I've also wanted to use some of these die cut flowers. A lot of my layouts so far with Sunkissed, I've fussy cut the flowers off the pattern paper that has all the flower clusters on it, but I thought for this one I quite like those white borders on them, which will provide some separation between all the colour that I've got going on this page already. So I'm just going through and I'm lifting and bending or curling up the petals just to provide more interest. And then I think off camera, once these are dry, I come back in with those little dimensional adhesives and just put them behind some parts of the petals to lift them up, because I am aware that when I put things in albums, and if you look years later and you haven't added dimensional adhesive, there's no way that they're going to stay flat. So I love that banner, and I think, yeah, I add double dimension to get that lifted up. Really, really sweet. And then just tucking my flowers around that Summer Days. Now, that Summer Days ends up being my title. I had originally thought about using one of the gold, or a couple of the gold glitter foam words, but when I'm done, there's nowhere to put them. And so that Summer Days becomes my title, and I also add the date off camera. So I'm adding some leaves as well. I love how I've got that leaf slightly over that Summer Days sticker, and also adding some of the flowers that they're like stems with buds on them. I think they're really pretty. So like I said, it's winter here at the moment, and I quite like creating summer layouts in winter because it reminds me that summer will come after winter. And yeah, it's nice to relive some of the warmer days. So just continuing to build. I'm not wanting to go crazy with this. I'm just wanting a few flowers and leaves to help draw the eye into the photo. So yeah, not really sure what else to tell you about this. Just that like I said, I was really, really relieved that this worked. There were moments of making this where I wondered if I was going to have to throw it out. It sounds quite harsh, but if I was going to have to put this aside and maybe cut it down. That was another thought I had, was I could cut it off the white background. I could also cut it in half and use it as a half kind of sunburst, but yeah, in the end I'm really happy with it. So just placing things where I want them, and really I've only gone for like a single layer of flowers around this central cluster. So a central design is a bit unusual for me as well. Normally I go very much right heavy, but yeah, happy with this. So I was really, really thrilled as well because I used up the last two of these enamel buttons on one sheet. So that's always amazing when you finish something. And then just adding my journaling. So what did I say? Probably just saying that I'm enjoying summer days at the beach with kids. And then I'm adding some white splatters. So I've just put some something over my photo because I don't want splatters on my photo. And I've just used white acrylic paint watered down. Now I did used to use Liquitex, and I also have some Delusions spray, but I can never, with the Delusions, it just doesn't pick up bright enough. And so I think that the white splatters really help tie this layout together. And if I was going to use the gold words, I would have used gold splatters as well. So that is my final layout. Hope you enjoyed this process, and definitely head on over to the blog to read more about it. Thank you so much for watching.